Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new episode of Africa Today, where we get you the latest news and events taking place on the African scene. And we will start off with our major top stories and reports. South African Foreign Minister Naledi Pandor welcomed Egypt's joining of South Africa's lawsuit filed against Israel before the International Court of Justice. More details in the following report.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs announced Egypt's intention to officially intervene in support of South Africa's genocide case against Israel at the International Court of Justice. The ministry stated that Egypt's decision to intervene in the lawsuit comes in light of the escalation, severity, and scope of Israel's attacks against Palestinian civilians in the Gaza Strip. The ministry said that these attacks include deliberate targeting of civilians, infrastructure destruction, forced displacement, and creating unbearable living conditions, leading to an unprecedented humanitarian crisis in Gaza, adding that these actions constitute a flagrant violation of international law, humanitarian law, and the Fourth Geneva Convention of 1949 regarding the protection of civilians during wartime. The statement said that Egypt called on Israel as occupying power to comply with its obligations. It added that this includes implementing interim measures issued by the International Court of Justice to ensure adequate access to humanitarian aid that meet the needs of Palestinians in Gaza, and to refrain from committing any violations against the Palestinian people who are protected under the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. Furthermore, Egypt reiterated its call to the United Nations Security Council and influential international parties to take immediate action to halt the violations in Gaza.
Welcome back, dear viewers, and to shed more light on the topic, we're delighted to be joined over the phone by Dr. Ahmed Moustafa, Foreign Affairs and Economic Expert. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Well, sir, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi heads to Bahrain today to participate in the 33rd Arab Summit, which will take place in Manama. President Sisi's visit comes within the framework of Egypt's keenness on cooperation with Arab countries and unifying the Arab stance amid challenges facing the region. President Sisi will tackle, and the summit also, the Israeli attack against the Gaza Strip and the efforts exerted to escalate the actual crisis. Sir, how do you see the significance of the President's participation in the summit?
I think the situation, and as I told you over and over again in your program over the past week, that it's really a crucial visit, because the Gaza situation and what's happening to our Palestinian father, I think it is a great opportunity just to make Egypt restore its real image and weight in the region as a scale holder and as the main country in the region, especially in the Arab world, because Egypt is like the mother of the Arab world. This is a good opportunity also just for President Sisi, who already initiated in 2017 to tackle the matter of the Arab forces, which is a very crucial issue. And if the Arab agreed just to have such a project or such an initiative seriously since 2017, I think the situation will never be aggravated to be like the situation that we have currently. Number two, this is a good opportunity, as I said before, just to have a collective action, because, you know, the attacks against our brothers in Palestine continued, and we need to have this collective action and unified stance against America, against its agenda, Israel, against the EU, because they take the opportunity and they take the chance, because we are scattered, we are not unified. This is a good opportunity just to have a unified and a collective action against Israel. And also, this is an opportunity to put pressures to have like sanctions against this Zionist entity, whether by having embargo on the fuel exposed to them, just to make the countries that already recently normalized with them just to stop treating or having like trade with them. It's very significant in this time being, and even the countries that was a little bit confused in the beginning of the Gaza crisis, I think now they already returned to the right path just to put an end for this, catastrophe, and having and adopting maybe a resolution for a Palestinian, a sovereign Palestinian state that enjoying all the rights like all the other countries, and supporting that, of course, the recent resolution that was adopted by the Assembly General of the United Nations the last week, that Palestine being accepted as a full member state, not observer as before at the United Nations.
Sir, what motivated Egypt to officially intervene in support of South Africa's genocide case against Israel at the International Court of Justice, and what role does Egypt aim to play in the legal proceedings?
Look, you have different, or you have to tackle different methods just to put Israel under pressure. Whether the diplomatic, whether the legal, whether the economic, and whether the strategic. You always keep the strategic the last one, because it has like a devastating impact. However, you can play on the other, methods, as I told you. And the legal is one of those methods that we should carry out a big pressure on this Zionist entity just to yield to what the Palestinians already need and what they already requested since 76 years before, because 2 days before we were celebrating the day of Nakba since 1948. Therefore, the Palestinians sent such date because a lot of people, even in our vision, or the global community, didn't realize that the Palestinians were not suffering the last year. No, it was 76 of practicing apartheid regime over our families and fathers in Palestine. So these people having a big, right just to get all their confiscated rights by this Zionist entity, because it is the latest apartheid regime worldwide after South Africa. And I think it's a big shame on the humanity just to keep this situation going on. No, we should stand before or against or versus Israel and versus the EU, versus United States, and saying no, please give the Palestinians all the rights. And also this summit is important, and the previous summit of the OIC in Gambia the last couple of weeks also was crucial and supportive in that respect. Therefore, we may have like a big, pact or like a counter action against the Zionist entity jointly in between the OIC and the Arab League. We are 57 states, in addition to the states of Latin America, of Africa, of Asia, and even some European states like Spain, like Belgium, started to take the same path. Ireland, of course. For all of those, I think we may form like a big pressure on the West, plus of course China and Russia, who were requested by our Palestinian brothers recently as mediators for, the agreement between Fatah and Hamas.
Sir, with the current escalating attacks against the Palestinian civilians in the Gaza Strip, what measures are being considered to address these Israeli attacks?
As I told you, we have different tools. Now we are practicing the three peaceful ones, the diplomatic via coordination between the South countries and East countries, because South and East who always, forming this counterattack against the atrocity of the atrocitic West. Also, we have this economic pressure via the sanctions and embargo that should be imposed, whether on Israel or the countries that are supporting Israel. We have to take that in our agenda. If we support, I know that there are some material interests between the Arab and the Muslim countries with the West, so we cannot deny that, but we should have a stand, and this is a good time just to show them that we are not this yielded or this subjective party. No, we can reverse the situation now, because we already having a lot of natural resources that we need for their economic growth. And also we have the legal manner or the legal method that represented in what you mentioned, the last question, whether the International Court of Justice and International Criminal Court. Therefore, all of that should be practiced and should be handled by our countries, especially the Arab countries and the Muslim countries and the countries of humanitarian conscience, just to put Israel under a big pressure. And in this regard, we cannot stand before us for a longer time, because also don't forget that the economic sector, especially in the West, and the public opinion, the academic opinion, and even yesterday what happened in Switzerland, and you'll find that Basel, the country, the city that already adopted the Congress of the Jews and the Zionists 2 centuries before, just to carry out the state of Israel. It's so the universities thereof having a stand against Israel, and already they were claiming, the students and the academics were claiming, just to put off the statue or the image of Weizmann, the first president of the Zionist entity. I think this is the history start to repeat itself again, but against Israel, not with Israel, as we expected before. Therefore, the international stage is ready to adopt the changes, and we see that now it is the latter pain of a new world order. That is, countries that are already adopting the humanitarian values, and the countries of material values that are represented in the West. But of course, the future will be for the humanitarian values also.
Great. Well, I would like to thank you so much, Dr. Ahmed Moustafa, Foreign Affairs and Economic Expert. Many thanks for your insight. And dear viewers, now we go back to our special reports, and let's check out this report on partnership between Egypt and Tanzania. Let's have a closer look.
According to a statement by the Ministry of Housing, Utilities and Urban Communities, Tanzania's mega development project, the Julius Nyerere hydroelectric power project, which is being constructed by an Egyptian consortium, reached 97.74% completion. During a visit, the Minister of Housing, Asim Al-Ghazzar, inspected the work on the dam. He affirmed Egypt's commitment to the mega project, which symbolizes the strong ties between Egypt and Tanzania. He added that the progress is regularly monitored by President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. The dam, with a length of 1,025 meters and a storage capacity of about 34 billion cubic meters of water, is aimed at doubling Tanzania's energy production, controlling floods and improving agriculture. The $2.9 billion dam is expected to solve the country's electricity shortage problem by providing clean power for more than 60 million Tanzanians. The energy generated will be transmitted at a voltage of 400 kilovolts to a substation, where it will be integrated into the national electricity grid. The project, which has been under construction since 2019, is being implemented through a joint venture of two Egyptian companies. The project, fully financed by the Tanzanian government, is providing work to 8,000 Tanzanians, 1,000 Egyptians, and other foreign workers.
And moving on to East Africa, as deadly floods continue to devastate parts of East Africa, Burundi finds itself grappling with the aftermath of torrential rainfall. More details.
Deadly floods are wreaking havoc in many parts of East Africa, with Burundi calling for international help to deal with the aftermath of torrential rainfall. Over the weekend, the country's government began the voluntary relocation of approximately 2,000 families displaced by the flooding, moving them to shelters on higher ground. Displaced families boarded buses provided by the United Nations Refugee Agency and moved from the shores of Guatamba in the west of the country near the border with the Democratic Republic of Congo to Mathieuazu, some 30 kilometers from the economic capital. The relocation is marred with logistical challenges, including a shortage of materials used for makeshift shelters to house displaced families. Between September and April 7th, some 203,944 people were affected by flooding, with 19,250 homes and 209 classrooms destroyed. Burundi is one of the world's poorest countries, with 80% of its 13 million people employed in agriculture, according to the World Bank. Flooding there has created surreal scenes like game rangers entering the waterlogged national park in Kanoi. Climate experts say flooding in Burundi and elsewhere in the region is part of extreme conditions linked to El Nino weather phenomenon.
With that final report, we come to the end of this edition of Africa Today. Many thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more coming up here on Nile TV International.